Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one. Hope everybody had a beautiful weekend. So today, guys, the markets went up yet again, fueled by yields coming ever so slightly down. So in today's video, we are going to go over our major tech indexes, see how everything is shaping up here after the weekend. We're also going to take a look at our major tech names, see how those are shaping up leading into a very big next 2 weeks of earnings, and Jerome Powell, obviously, with a meeting next Wednesday as well. And lastly, we're going to cover my portfolio and see which trades did I take early in the morning. So without further ado, guys, let's take a look at the markets. Now, SPY up 0.21%, QQQ up 0.13%, but the outperformance came through your IWM Russell small cap sectors. Today, take a look at the heat map here, guys. Very nice broad market performance. So the broadening of the market does continue here. Tech stocks slightly pulling back as a whole. We had most of our major tech stocks pulling back, but Apple and NVIDIA putting in some nice gains for the market. Healthcare, big outperformer on the day today. Financials holding up their own weight, and really only consumer cyclical really is still pulling down here. You can see Tesla, once again, our loss leader on the day. Amazon pulling back ever so slightly as well. On the one-day relative performance, you'll see that industrials actually leading the way up here. They've been getting a nice boost from our yields coming down in the last couple of days. Financials, real estate, technology, healthcare putting in some green. To the downside, we did have our consumer cyclicals, utilities, and consumer defensive. On the 1 week relative, everything is looking fairly decent here, guys. Tech obviously outperforming in a significant fashion, led second by financials after some very decent banking earnings. And even the regional banks, guys, are coming out with fairly decent earnings. We'll take a look at that as well. Still to the downside, however, we do have a couple industries here: utilities, energy, basic materials, consumer defensive, and real estate really leading to the downside here on the 1 week, but do represent fairly small sectors. So they are being held up by the broader market, namely healthcare and financials on your recovery and your big tech recovery as well. So how are your indexes looking here, guys? Well, SPY is looking very good here. After climbing above the all-time high late last week, we have now hit a gap up into profit-taking day. So you can see that on the short time frames here, guys. We really had a beautiful gap up morning, but the rest of the day was kind of due for a little bit of consolidation and profit taking. So once again, our short-term time frames are our guide. I'll remind you guys, we really need to focus on the 4-hour time frame here in terms of your 12 EMA. So until we don't lose this 12 EMA, the daily uptrend is still relatively healthy. Now, bulls, full daily uptrend control at this point, right? Recapture of your daily 12 EMA as well. And we're now sitting above the all-time high. The all-time high set all the way back here, obviously 2 years ago. So should we fall back, this previous all-time high should be providing some very decent support. We're not significantly above it, however, not as much as QQQ, but should still be a very decent area in case we get a pullback. So daily bulls, full control here. As soon as this move tops out, how will you know the move is topped out? Loss of an hourly trend here, right? So as long as the bulls control this short-term hourly time frame, your daily move has not topped out. As soon as it does top out, however, healthy daily uptrend, just going to be looking for a daily higher low. Anything at this point above 470 is just going to be looking for a daily higher low. Bulls looking very good. Weekly time frames, full control as well. Weekly uptrend onto leg number 3 at this point. So even if we do get a daily downtrend pullback here, it will just be for a weekly higher low. Anything pretty much above your 466.70 level, just for a weekly higher low. Everything looking very good. And after a very rocky start to the month of January, bulls able to recover nicely. Beautiful continuation here of your monthly uptrend. So we'll see what happens. A lot of earnings coming up in the next 2 weeks here, guys, right? So over the course of the next couple of days, we will be covering a few of the ones this week. And obviously we have big tech next week. Next week is such a big week here, guys. We have most of big tech reporting and we have the meeting from Jerome Powell. So going to be a very volatile week in the markets. But tomorrow after the close, we'll be doing Netflix and most likely Texas Instruments. And I'm going to pick one of the ones that is most notable to me after we see the market performance here tomorrow. It's either going to be either 3M, Johnson & Johnson here, or potentially Procter & Gamble, or maybe even one of the home builders. I do want to do 3. We're going to be covering it quickly, so we'll see which ones have the most notable change here in their guidance for the year. And then I have obviously the rest of the week. Beautiful rest of the week in terms of earnings here as well. Wednesday, we do have Tesla. It's going to be a very big one. We also have ASML, big semiconductor play here. Another semiconductor in Lam Research doesn't get talked about too much, but one of the most solid stocks in terms of semiconductors here. And we may even take a look at Las Vegas Sands to see how the consumer is doing on that discretionary experience spending. And then on Thursday, I do want to tackle Intel. Visa obviously is going to be a huge one. And we're also going to go over one of our last credit card reporters here in the form of Capital One. And And then Friday, we do have American Express, one of my favorite plays here in terms of financials that is still at a relatively decent valuation here in terms of your credit card / banking plays. So big next couple weeks in earning, but everything so far shaping up good. Now moving on to QQQ. QQQ, very big performance by QQQ. So you can see this green box here represents your previous all-time high. We are now significantly above that all-time high now. So should we be pulling back, going to provide a very beautiful area of support. But the bulls are in full control as of right now here, guys. Daily uptrend recaptured as of last week. Gap up open into a little bit of profit taking, but still no loss of your hourly time frame. Really just an hourly bull flag right here. So as soon as this move tops out, the bulls have created a ton of space for a daily higher low, anything above 403.26. Just looking for your daily higher low and keep an eye on your previous highs right here. The 412, 413 area should be acting as pretty decent support if we do pull back there. You also have your moving averages curling up into that spot as well. So bulls are in full control. As soon as your short-term time frames top out, we start getting an hourly downtrend. That's when you'll know that your daily consolidation is underway. But bulls, very healthy uptrend currently. And even on the weekly here, guys, you see it best, right? 1, 2, 3 beautiful legs up currently. So bulls are in full control and ending the month strong. Obviously a lot of tech data coming out before the month ends. So we'll see, can they close this candle strong? Or if tech earnings really have a bad time, will we be in for significant pullback? If we are in for significant pullback, just keep an eye, as I was mentioning before here, guys, this previous all-time high area should be acting as very juicy support for any longer term pullbacks here, even if we do get a little bit of tech underperformance here. Very juicy area of support. So bulls are in full control right now, guys. Really only earnings could be the only thing that could derail big tech in that sense. Now, moving on to financials. Financials, very good recovery here, guys. After having lost the daily uptrend back last week, bears setting the daily downtrend. We were just looking, when they're setting the daily downtrend here, we were looking for the weekly higher low. We had tons of space on the weekly, and now the bulls with a beautiful engulfing move to the upside here. So now the bulls not recapturing the daily uptrend, but have put in an engulfing move, and now they've created a ton of space off of your lows to set a new daily higher low for potential recapture of your daily uptrend. So as soon as this move tops out, just looking for a daily higher low, anything above 37 is going to be your daily higher low for potential further trend continuation here. The weekly higher low was set last week after about 10, 11 weeks of rally. We really came down, touched my area, which was previous resistance for a very long time, touched it as support, and now we are on to weekly leg number 2. So XLF financials, having gone through most of earnings season without much downside, very good recovery here. And you can even see on the regional, small and regional banks as well, very beautiful uptrend in motion right now on the weekly after a couple weeks of consolidation here, end of December into early January. You can see that we set the weekly higher low and looking to potentially make that first weekly uptrend here. This would be a very notable move here off of your most recent highs. They used it as support off of the 12 EMA. Nice bounce. Let's see if they can make that happen here. Very good recovery in terms of your regional banks as well. So financials, no red flags whatsoever. They've mostly gone through earnings season at this point without major warnings from your big banks or any of the small regional banks as well. So quite pleased to have that performance come through. Now moving on to healthcare here. Healthcare doing very good as well. So healthcare was no secret, was always in a daily uptrend here, but after losing the lows last week, 138.72, lost the lows we were looking for. Can the bears set a lower high for potential lower low continuation into a downtrend? Well, the bulls have now had a significant bounce here. And I'll remind you guys, any daily consolidation or daily downtrend, we were just looking for a weekly higher low similar to financials right here. After about 10, 11 weeks, it was time for XLV Healthcare to consolidate a little bit. And the consolidation zone was about 137 all the way down to 133-ish. Didn't quite get all the way down there, still significantly off of your 12 EMA. So even if healthcare does consolidate a little bit further, just fine, guys. Just going to be for weekly higher lows here, guys. Anything above 122.74, weekly higher low for further trend continuation. And we're really battling currently with our previous all-time resistance. This red line right here is pretty much it. 142 all the way up to about 143 is going to be this very big area of resistance. You can see 1, 2, 3 touches of that in terms of the past. That's your all-time highs. So normal that bulls are encountering a bit of resistance now, but we'll see. Can the bulls create enough space here to reverse into a new daily uptrend similar to what XLF financials just did? Well, remains to be seen here, guys, but bulls with a very healthy bounce over the last couple of days, recapturing this 12 EMA. So tons of space here, guys, right? Tons of space to potentially set up for a new daily trend change. But if ever we get the daily downtrend, no biggie, zoom out, guys. The bulls are in full control of this weekly for potential continuation into 2024. So healthcare is still looking very healthy indeed. Now, IWM Russell. IWM Russell, one of your only sectors who actually did confirm a daily downtrend. You can see here, guys, none of your indexes confirmed a daily downtrend prior, right? Neither did QQQ. XLF confirmed it a tiny little bit, but very, very muted downside, right? Only about 2.5%. XLV Healthcare never actually confirmed the downtrend as of yet, but IWM Russell off the highs coming into the early part of the year, right? 8.5% almost to the downside. Now recovering quite nice. So we were looking, once this move bottoms out here, we were looking at this last week. When we recapture the hourly uptrend, it means that your daily move down is finished. Then we're going to be looking for the size of the bounce in relation to your most recent lower high, right? Lower high 197, lower low. Then you measure the size of the bounce. Well, now the bulls have put in a 100% engulfing move off of your most recent sell-off, which gives them a decent amount of space to set up for the higher low for daily trend change back to the bulls. So this is exactly what you want to see, a 100% engulfing move. It obviously puts all the probabilities on your side to have enough space to set a daily higher low with any pullback. So looking very good. And I'll remind you, on the Russell, we were always looking for a weekly higher low after such a significant rally into our area of previous 2 years almost worth of resistance. Normal that we're just looking for a higher low for further trend continuation here after such a good breakout here by the bulls. And we were looking for the area more specifically, 187 roughly down to all the way about 181. Really the midpoint of this range was what I was looking for. All of your moving averages were down there as well. So the bulls allowed the bears to come all the way down into here, pretty much touch and go at this point, right? So now looking very healthy. I will be looking for a potential daily higher low to position myself on some entries in TNA. TNA is your 3x leveraged Russell play. So I will be heavily looking out for that. That is going to confirm once we reset the daily uptrend here, we confirm that your weekly higher low is set right here and that we are on for further trend continuation. Have another stab at this big area of resistance. So we'll see if IWM bulls can get that done. Now, lastly, the Dow Jones. Dow Jones, very good performance here, guys. After having lost the daily uptrend ever so slightly here, bears confirming the daily downtrend here with your double top at the all-time highs. Juicy recovery by the bulls in only 3 days, engulfing move, which means that you've created enough space here once again to reset a daily uptrend for further continuation. Now, I'll remind you here, guys, that the daily downtrend was no biggie at all. Why? Because we were just looking for a weekly higher low, right? 4 weeks of consolidation almost sideways. This is the best case scenario for any bulls in the market. Whenever you have a massive move like this, you don't want to see the bears recapture too much. So what happened? The bears recaptured almost nothing. Look at this on the fib here, guys. Look how much they recaptured after the top of this move right here, right? Barely about 10% of the entire move. Very good performance by your Dow Jones bulls here. Consolidation at the top allowed for cooling down of your short-term daily timeframes right here. Really beautiful sideways consolidation. Now explosion to the upside here once again. So any move at this point, when this move tops out, any move lower will just be for a new higher low. Anything above 37,000-ish is going to be looking for a higher low for further trend continuation. Now this entire area should be able to be used as support by the bulls for a potential leg higher here. Weekly higher low is set with the low of last week and on to potentially leg number 2 on the Dow Jones to the upside. Monthly uptrend is looking absolutely gorgeous at this point as well, creating a lot of space off of your previous all-time highs. So Dow Jones bulls in full control of all your timeframes right now. In terms of yields, you can see that yields have been struggling here to move higher after the last 3 days, even despite all of your negative comments here out of the ECB, a couple of Fed members in the US also touting to the fact that they're happy on inflation, but that we shouldn't be rushing in terms of rate decreases. So what we were looking for on yields here, guys, yes, the yields did have a new daily uptrend getting above your moving averages, but I'll remind you, those moves higher here, just looking for a weekly lower high for further downtrend continuation into the second half of the year after most of your rate cuts are going to come into effect. This chart should drop like an absolute rock here, guys. This current uptick is just only speculation at this point, still going back and forth whether or not we're going to have a rate cut in March or not. But in my opinion, guys, there's no reason after we do get some rate cuts, potentially either in March or in May, there's no reason that these should be in the 4% year, especially not the 20 and the 10-year yields here, guys. I think we're going to start coming down pretty fast after the Fed starts moving down on rates. So on the weekly, everything looking very healthy for yields in terms of coming down here, right? Just looking for the weekly lower high for potential lower low into the second half of the year. Same thing on the 10-year as well. So this little short-term uptick that we've had during the course of the month of January should be no more than that here, guys. We're just really looking for a weekly lower high for further downtrend continuation here into the rest of 2024. I'm very pleased on how the movement of yields has been going. And as a matter of fact, this obviously presents us another opportunity here to pick the lower high for lower low. This means that I can potentially start averaging into TMF. TMF is your long 20-year bond plays. So TMF is just the inverse pretty much of those yield charts that you just saw right now. Going to be making a play on bonds. A lot of space created off the lows right here, trying to set the weekly higher lows for weekly trend expansion to the upside here. So going to be looking to add potentially on the position for TMF. Now, let's move on to a little bit of crypto, since crypto dropped a lot here today over the past few days as well. So Bitcoin, sell the news event after ETF release, right? And now the daily downtrend just simply continues. In my opinion here, guys, if you want to know my macro thoughts on crypto, I don't think crypto is ready just yet. Yes, we've had a significant rally and there's been a lot of hype behind the market, but the trading volumes are just not what they used to be here, guys. You can see trading volumes as a whole are still relatively low to when we have our period of peak euphoria back in 2020 and 2021. So trading volumes are still relatively low on Bitcoin. And as a whole, guys, investors haven't really pivoted back to risk on yet. There's still a lot of risk off in the markets right now. Still a lot of money on the sidelines, either in money market funds or in straight cash. Just people are not yet convinced that the market has fully pivoted to bullish, despite having hit all-time highs on the indexes. The risk on move is just not here yet. And that's why a lot of growth stocks and even crypto, guys, it's just, it has rallied decently here in the latter part of November and December, right? Just as the rest of the market, but I don't believe it's quite ready. So in terms of the technicals, Bitcoin daily downtrend is confirmed at this point, right? This is just going to be weekly pullback. You can see now losing the weekly lows at the same time, right? So it was a weekly uptrend. Now we flushed the lows. So when you lose your weekly uptrend right now, you know that you're in for monthly consolidation here, guys. And that's what we've been talking about. My likely scenario for Bitcoin was into late January, February, potentially even March, just have a little bit of monthly consolidation. Then we're going to have the Bitcoin halving event, and that is going to be in April. Keep in mind, the rate decreases most likely will start in May. So I do think personally for crypto, the second half of 2024 is going to be a lot more bullish here than the first. Crypto really doesn't have much of a reason to rally currently in this still risk off environment where people are still talking about rates being higher for longer and potential of a recession in Q2 and Q3. Just not quite ready yet. It's really pulled up in this area of resistance and now we're getting rejected. So looking for now at this point a monthly higher low. 35,000, 36,000 is going to be a level I'm targeting here, guys, for my potential future addition to the portfolio here. And you can see Bitcoin now trading under 40,000. So not looking very bullish at all. Bears are in short-term control of the daily and weekly timeframes here, just really looking to set that monthly higher low. So need to be a bit patient with crypto. Ethereum is likely the same as well. So Ethereum daily downtrend at this point has just been perpetuated over the last 2.5 weeks at this point, right? So now we're pulling back in this really big area of support. We're talking $2,200 all the way about $2,300. So we're almost there currently. And should we pull back a bit more here, guys, right? Weekly uptrend is set in Ethereum, but now we're looking for the weekly higher low, anything above 2118, weekly higher low. But if the bears engulf this entire move, they have enough space to potentially set the weekly lower high into weekly downtrend here, which would just be looking for monthly consolidation on Ethereum as well. Monthly consolidation, the zone that I'm looking for, guys, 21 all the way down to about 1900 should be a very juicy buying opportunity for the second half of the year. So that's where I'm going to be really looking to load up more Ethereum for the second part of the year here, guys. So hopefully everybody was able to potentially lock in some early profits on crypto during this rally, but I'm not expecting big things for crypto over the next couple of next maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks, crypto should still be fairly muted now that we have no more major catalysts to look forward to in the markets before really we get that first rate decrease, right? The ETF event has now passed, and now markets are just looking to the next catalyst. So now let's move on to big tech. Apple, guys. Apple, what a comeback here on Apple after really selling down into our zone, which we were looking for here, guys. Let me delete this line right here. So we were looking for a pullback into about the 181 all the way down to 175. We were saying it was a very juicy area for your longer term bulls to potentially be averaging into some positions. And the bulls bought the dip here, guys, after being in a daily downtrend here for an extended period of about 2.5 weeks here leading into the early part of the year. We got the double bottom, and then we were looking for the potential size of the bounce. Now you can see Apple bulls recovering, daily uptrend is set, and now tons and tons of space off the lows right here. So, and as soon as this move tops out, keep an eye on your short-term timeframes. If we lose this hourly uptrend here shortly, well, keep an eye, guys. It's just going to be looking for a daily higher low. Anything above pretty much 180.36 going to be for a daily higher low. The bulls, so much space to pull back at this point here, guys. The bulls can pull back at this point, 4, 5% even, looking for that daily higher low. Obviously, earnings in the next 2 weeks are going to play a big factor into that, but Apple with a very beautiful recovery. Bulls now back in control of the short time frames here. On the weekly, your weekly bounce is well underway at this point with your daily uptrend being recaptured. Look how much of this weekly move down the bulls have recaptured already, almost about 80%. So now even if we top off on this move and really consolidate here on the daily until earnings, that would just be looking for a weekly higher low, really tying up this weekly range potentially before trend continuation into further into 2024. On your monthly, guys, monthly bulls have always been healthy. We're just looking for monthly consolidation here, really tight accumulation of the range, similar to kind of back here, right? Really bullish move to the upside, consolidation sideways for a couple of months, and then Apple moves higher. So we're kind of looking for that exact same pattern to be repeating itself, tighten up until Apple really presents us here with a bit more bullish guidance, a bit more bullish earnings. Obviously, they've been caught in the negative headlines about the Apple Watch, about the fact that revenue would be most likely the same as it was this last year. It's going to be pretty much the same as this year. That's what they said on their last quarterly earnings. And they obviously have the Apple Vision Pro as a bullish catalyst this year, but then they have the negative catalyst of iPhone sales that have been potentially dwindling. So a bit of a mixed sentiment here on Apple, and I don't think that's going to change here for the better part of the first 3-4 months of the year. So very, very good recovery. Short-term bulls are back in control. Long-term bulls never lost control, just sideways accumulation on Apple. Now moving into AMD. AMD pulling back, but they deserve it here, guys. AMD, after such a substantial rally, right? Really cracking past your previous all-time highs, which are about 164. We've now come back and tapped them ever so briefly today, right? Tapped them, and now we're moving higher. But AMD on the short term, right? Bulls are in full control here, guys. Full daily uptrend right now. As soon as this move tops out, right, if we continue to lose this hourly trend into tomorrow potentially, that's fine. Just going to be looking for a daily higher low. Anything above your previous low, 144.21, looking for a daily higher low for further trend continuation here. AMD really with earnings next Tuesday, not this Tuesday, next Tuesday. So curious to see what they have to say. I think they'll have very bullish things to say, especially in their cloud server computing with the GPU farming for major businesses. Obviously, they are the only competitor to NVIDIA's new business segment in that respect. So very curious to see what the team has to say about that whole business segment. That's going to be front and center for AMD. And obviously, guys, if for some which reason we lose the daily uptrend leading into earnings, that's fine. Tons of space for the bulls to pull back on the weekly. Anything above 134, just looking for a weekly higher low for further trend continuation. So full weekly control by the bulls on the weekly, full control on the daily, and even on the monthly here, guys. Beautiful monthly uptrend has now started on AMD. So bulls really in full control of everything at this point, looking very awesome indeed. Bit too rich for me to be buying up here, guys. I really like anything at this point, right? Price targets readjusted. Anything between 140 and about 140 and 130 is going to be the zone for me. So a little bit too high for me personally right now. Now moving on to Amazon. Amazon, very nice chart indeed, even though they did pull back ever so slightly on the day here. They really have recaptured the daily uptrend at this point, right? So daily higher low was set on the midpoint of last week. Now we're just looking for the trend to continue past our previous 52-week highs. So bulls looking good here. No real loss of the hourly uptrend just yet. They kind of saved it here today. But if for ever which reason, guys, we lose this hourly uptrend into tomorrow, your daily move will have topped out. And then we'd be looking for Amazon to really protect this low right here. 150.10 is going to be the line in the sand to watch here, guys. So we're going to be looking for the bulls to either set a daily higher low to accumulate a bit more and move higher as a bit. This is exactly the pattern that Amazon was doing back here, right? Really getting tight, bull flag formation to more highs. So potentially Amazon in for another one of those patterns. It's going to get fairly tight, Amazon, with earnings here next week, pretty much on Thursday. So we're going to be watching out for that. Keep an eye on that for Amazon, but Amazon looking very healthy. Weekly uptrend is gorgeous at this point as well, right? Weekly uptrend, any pullback above 144.37, just looking for a weekly higher low. So even if we do lose this series of daily right now, we have so much space, guys, above 144 to set that weekly higher low potentially. And this whole area, guys, 148 all the way down to pretty much 141 is such beautiful support for Amazon. So really expecting good things out of them for their earnings. Should be a year of efficiency for Amazon. No real major capital expenditures forecasted for the year. So I'm expecting them to finally get back to a course of profitability after doing some tremendous cost cutting in the last 2 quarters. I expect that to continue. So keep an eye for the break here of your 52-week highs on Amazon. But everything looking very good, even on the monthly here, guys. Monthly uptrend more than confirmed at this point. So no red flags, looking good. Moving on to Google. Google pulling back ever so slightly on the day. So gap up open on Google, got all the way as high as about almost 150 here, guys, today before pulling back ever so slightly. So that's okay here, guys. Google obviously in a very beautiful daily uptrend at this point. So as soon as this move tops out, right, if we lose our hourly time frames into tomorrow, hourly downtrend, it means your daily move has topped out. We'll just be looking for a higher low, anything above 140.42, looking for a higher low for further trend continuation. And keep an eye on your previous area of resistance. 145-ish should be acting as fairly decent support. Your 12 EMA is going to be there as well. So that's going to be the first target for Google. And obviously on the longer term time frame, such as the weekly, everything is looking very good as well. Weekly uptrend is confirmed. So if ever, guys, we lose the daily uptrend for ever which reason into potentially earnings on next Tuesday, we're just going to be looking for a weekly higher low at that point, anything above 136.50, just looking for a weekly higher low. And this whole area, guys, like I was saying, 141 down to 138, such a solid area of previous resistance, going to be acting as very solid support now. No red flags for Google. I think that the bulls are going to be long-term dip buyers here if they do pull back, and monthly uptrend is in full control as well. So really no red flags on Google, looking very, very healthy and quickly approaching our all-time highs, guys. All-time highs, 152 area, and we're kind of almost there on Google. Now moving on to Meta. Meta looking very good, but once again, another stock gap up open into a little bit of profit taking, but that's okay. Meta can afford that, right? So daily uptrend, very beautiful on Meta, tons of space now. Any pullback, just looking for a daily higher low, anything about 358.67, daily higher low for further trend continuation. You can see Meta has not lost this daily uptrend in a very long time at this point. Earnings obviously next Thursday as well, so that's going to play into it. On the weekly time frame here, guys, weekly time frame is in full control by the bulls as well. So even if we lose the series of daily higher highs and higher lows, set a daily downtrend into earnings for ever which reason, guys, tons of space, anything above 341.27, just looking for a weekly higher low for further trend continuation. No red flags on Meta, full monthly trend control as well. So close, right? So close to our all-time highs, still battling with them. We did eclipse them ever so slightly on Meta. You can see that right here. Previous all-time highs were about, 384.33. And over the course of this morning right here, this morning, we actually hit 388, almost 390 to be exact. So new all-time high on Meta here today. Not quite, not up above them enough that we can then potentially use them as support just yet, but very, very good move on Meta nonetheless. The short-term bulls are in full control of everything at this point, and we're going to keep an eye here on what earnings has to do. Meta, a little bit too high for me right now, guys. I really prefer Meta in the lower 325 all the way down to 300. So we'll see if they have really bad earnings. Can they pull back into there? That would be a very heavy drop for Meta, guys. We'd be talking about 15 to 20%. Not expecting that not expecting that. And we do have big support down here in the 340 area as well before we even get there. So we'll keep a close eye on Meta as a whole, but everything looking very good. Microsoft as well, gap up open to a little bit of profit taking, but Microsoft, another company that can afford it, right? Daily uptrend coming out of this big consolidation range, daily uptrend was set. So as soon as this move tops out right here, keep an eye. How do you know it's topped out? Loss of the hourly uptrends, right? So no loss of the hourly uptrend as of yet, just means your daily uptrend simply continues right now. If we do start pulling back, keep an eye, anything above 385, pretty much just going to be looking for a daily higher low for further trend continuation. And on your weekly, guys, so much space. So even if we do lose the daily uptrend here into potentially next week into earnings, that's fine. Just looking for a weekly higher low, guys, anything above 366. Weekly higher low on Microsoft, full bull control, full monthly breakout as well of your all-time highs. And that's why I say, guys, even if we do pull back ever so slightly, guys, we're going to have a big, bears are going to have such a difficult time getting through this whole range that we were previously in for the past couple of weeks, right? This whole 377 down to 364 is going to be a very big area that the bulls are going to be able to play some defense in. So everything looking very good on Microsoft as well. Now Netflix, no boy, Netflix, earnings tomorrow here, guys, and subscriber growth and margins are going to be front and center. Can they continue to grow revenue? Can they continue to deliver solid EPS? Can they continue to deliver subscriber count? If they miss on earnings, if they miss on subscriber count, this stock could have a little bit of downside movement, guys. It is now priced very, very high in terms of the expectation, right? So Netflix currently trading about 485. They're a bit muted on the day, but that was to be expected. Not much going to come in pretty much tomorrow before earnings. So we'll see what happens. Either one of two things going to happen here, guys, right? Either we've set the daily high or low, just going to continue this daily uptrend here, which is just going to continue this weekly uptrend as well, or we're going to have a heavy drop off of any miss, which is going to send us into a daily downtrend, going to send us into weekly consolidation, but we're looking for the monthly higher low. So this is why I'm targeting, guys, any drop tomorrow, if we come down 450 down to about 425 is the longer form support for Netflix. So just keep that in mind. If we do pull back aggressively after earnings into this area, I do believe we'll find a bunch of long-term bulls down here looking to buy the dip. The 12 EMA is right down here around the 420, 425 area as well. So very juicy area of support if ever we come back down into there. That's why I'm not too nervous either way for Netflix here. Obviously, would like to see them perform well to the upside, continue delivering strong subscriber growth and strong guidance for the year. But if ever we do pull back here, guys, I will be looking for Netflix for a buying opportunity down in this level. I've been waiting for it for a while, just wanted to see what they had to say for earnings and for earnings guidance for the entire year. So going to be very curious to see what they say tomorrow after earnings. So just keep that in mind, guys. Either nothing's going to change, we're just going to maintain this daily bull control, this weekly bull control as well, or the bulls are going to lose the short-term timeframes daily and weekly, but then look to the higher time frames to have very much support down here. So everything still looking good in terms of Netflix. Now moving on to NVIDIA. NVIDIA, guys, right? Smashed 600 on the day here today. So NVIDIA, look at this daily RSI, right? NVIDIA RSI, just crazy right now, but still continuing. This is really one daily move up, no consolidation whatsoever at this point. So much space. As soon as NVIDIA loses your outlook, no loss of the hourly trend whatsoever. So how do you know this move is going to top out here, guys? Need to see a loss of the hourly uptrend. So let's say that happens tomorrow and we lose the hourly uptrend into the next few days. That's fine. Just going to be looking for daily consolidation. Anything above 474, just going to be for a daily higher low. The bulls have so much space here, guys. You can even drop down, right? 10, 11%, and that would still only be about 50% of this entire move that you'd only be giving back, right? So bulls with tons and tons of space for a little pullback here. Any pullback, daily higher low for further trend continuation. Weekly is looking very good as well after such a nice, beautiful bull flag right here. Tight accumulation range, weekly uptrend as well. Tons of space for a weekly pullback, and monthly bulls are in full control here. So no earnings on NVIDIA here for quite some time, but is getting a slight little bit overbought on the daily time frame here. Right, your 1 hour is not overbought. Your 4 hour is just perpetually overbought here, right? So some of the higher term timeframes are showing slight overbought conditions here, guys. So just keep that in mind. Could be due for a slight pullback here yet, but as of now, bulls still in full control. And now lastly, our three last ones here, Tesla, Palantir, and PayPal. So Tesla, you know, Tesla just struggling ever so slightly here again, right? Down another 1.5% on the day here today. Earnings on Wednesday here, guys. And we've been saying this in the past. Earnings is really going to be make or break for Tesla at this point, right? We had the delivery numbers come out. Deliveries actually beat expectations, but the entire focus is going to be on guidance and margin. So keep that in mind. It's going to be on the guidance for the company is going to be huge. Have to listen to the earnings call, how management is dealing with guidance, right? So there's so many negative catalysts on Tesla right now that we need to have management come out and reassure investors and have a positive tone. If Elon gets on the call and says that this environment is an absolute disaster, the stock is going to come down another 10% after these earnings, even if earnings are somewhat fairly decent, right? You saw what happened in the last 2 quarters after Elon was bearish on the call, 10, 11, 12% drops after earnings. Same thing happened back here, back in July, same exact thing, right? So a lot of negative things things plaguing Tesla right now. Obviously, price wars in China with BYD had them decrease prices in China. They obviously had to decrease prices in the US as well because of how high interest rates are. So they want to stimulate demand. You obviously have your Berlin factory shut down because of the whole situation in the Middle East right now, which is causing detours for parts around the Red Sea, right? So a lot of negative catalysts are plaguing Tesla right now. So that being said, we need to have a positive reinforcement by management tomorrow on the call, or this stock is going to absolutely plunge to new lows at this point, right? So you can see on the technicals, daily downtrend, bears full control, no recapture of the hourly uptrend here, guys. I was telling you, if you guys want the daily bounce to be underway, just look for that hourly uptrend reversal, right? Never able to get it done. We get it done in pre-market, but then as soon as the market opens, that's been twice now where we've tried for hourly trend changes into pre-market and just get really smashed in terms of the opening right now. So no hourly uptrend by Tesla either. So as long as that continues here, we're just going to continue this daily move down. Yes, we're daily oversold, but like you saw back here, guys, after earnings, Tesla can stay daily oversold for a number of days into about a week before having a little bit of retracement to the upside. So at this point, we're just going to be following this channel, right? Bulls losing the weekly uptrend right now. So we're going to be targeting a couple of areas here, guys. Obviously, you have your $200 psychological support down here, but the lower end of this range where we have even more support is about 180. So keep an eye, guys, on that 180 mark. It was very big area of a congestion back here in early 2023. So expect that to be the same. So if ever we do really fall through here for earnings, well, a 10% move here, guys, would really put us pretty much, you know, right around that 185, 180 area. And that would be a very juicy spot for me to be personally buying some shares of Tesla, even in terms of writing some puts down there. The bulls at this point, guys, you know, in jeopardy of losing everything, right? So daily downtrend in control by the bears, daily weekly uptrend lost by the bulls. So weekly down move, just expecting a lower high potentially for lower low continuation whenever this move does bottom out here. Just looking for a lower high. We'll see how high the bounce is. Maybe it'll give the bulls to get a chance here. But you know, with such a heavy move down, you are expecting a lower high for potential lower low continuation. Even a monthly here, guys, right? Monthly uptrend had by the bulls. But now, if we lose these lows right here, 196. That would be a new monthly downtrend here, guys, right? So just not a very good time for Tesla right now. Very cyclical business. I'm still very bullish on the growth of this company. Once rates come down and demand picks back up here, guys, it's going to be good. But as of now, just caught in its cyclicality, right? So very unfortunate for Tesla, but I do really like this stock here, guys. 180 and below is really a gift for long-term Tesla buys. Now, our two last ones here, guys, Palantir and PayPal. So Palantir, huge gap up open on the morning, but lots of profit taking intraday. So look at this gap up, got almost as high as about 9.5% to the upside, pulling back, ending just under 5%. Very solid day on Palantir nonetheless. And what we did, guys, is a crucial step. We smashed the 1791, which we were saying before was a level to watch here. So we were looking, could bulls set the daily uptrend? Now they have. So daily uptrend recaptured by the bulls. That's step number one. So as soon as this move tops out, we haven't really lost the hourly trend just yet, right? So big move up, one move down, looking for the bulls to perpetuate this hourly trend continuation. But if we lose this, that would mean that your daily move has topped up after such a significant day. This one day of trading otherwise would be, you know, 3-4 days of trading. This was pretty much, they came on to CNBC and touted that Palantir had a lot of good things coming for the year. Another interview for Palantir here, which really gave it some momentum, which is funny because the interview didn't actually happen today, actually happened on Friday, but reacting here on the morning here from that. So daily uptrend is set. Any move lower is just going to be for a higher low, anything above 1609. Just looking for a daily higher low for further trend continuation to the bulls. Nicely above your moving averages right now and nicely above your 1710, 1715 area. Previous support should now be was acting as resistance right here, should be now acting as new support with your moving averages. So nice move by Palantir to get above everything, reset that. And now on the weekly, guys, weekly bounce is underway. Wanted to see us get as high as possible in relation to 1854, and we almost got up to 1854. So nice engulfing move on the weekly as well, creating a ton of space to potentially recapture a new weekly uptrend here, potentially post earnings if we do have good earnings here coming up in 2 Mondays time. So very juicy move off of Palantir. Happy to see them regain short-term control here to the bulls, and happy to see a weekly engulfing move. Really gives us a lot of space to just reset most of the short-term timeframes here on Palantir. And now lastly, PayPal. PayPal, what a move on PayPal here today, right? very unexpected. So this was still off of the bullishness of last week. We have an event here on Thursday. Thursday, PayPal is going to have an investor presentation day where they unveil things that they are going to have coming for the company over the next year. This is supposed to be the year of efficiency for PayPal, where they do a lot of cost control, but also the market's expecting the CEO to potentially present new sales verticals for PayPal. So he came on an interview last week on CNBC saying that they were going to pretty much surprise the world, was I think the words that he used. And he also, when asked what that entails, he said that, well, we have a lot of data from all our small businesses and all consumers. So will they potentially be monetizing that data, which is going to potentially boost their margins and boost EPS? We will see. But PayPal definitely continuing off that short-term euphoria coming off of the words of the new CEO. So PayPal really big gap up open and then profit taking the entire day. Really brutal sell-off here on PayPal. But you can see just how overbought we were on the hourly time frame, and even on the 4-hour time frame, slight little spike into overbought territory. But PayPal as a whole, guys, very nice. Even with a big red day here, we've created a ton of space off the lows. So now, as soon as this move tops out, looks like it has just topped out now, guys, right? The bears have a good opportunity to reset this as an hourly downtrend at this point. So now any move, right, 56.50 at this point. Any move lower, just going to be looking for a higher low for further trend continuation. We'll see what happens on that event here on Thursday, right? But one thing's for sure, we're working with good support now at this point. $62 range, going to be very good support. Big resistance in the past, right? Going to be acting as support at this point. Your moving averages are there as well, so I'm expecting $62 to be providing good support. And finally, we're above our downtrending channel. Look, we finally broke above this channel. Weekly uptrend is now reconfirmed here by PayPal bullets at this point. So tons of space to be working with here, right? Above 56.50. So we'll see. All eyes are going to be on that event on Thursday, expecting good things. But I like the structure break here by the bulls. We've now broken this downtrending channel. We've now recaptured the daily uptrend. We've recaptured the weekly uptrend as well. So now remains to see, guys. Are we going to start potentially putting in a monthly engulfing move towards our 77.59 area? That is the next area for recapture for me. If we do that, in my opinion, guys, we can really get a potential new monthly uptrend and some recurring bullishness back on PayPal. PayPal also a very cyclical business, going to be highly sensitive to interest rates. So I do believe the later part of the year, especially if PayPal delivers very good cost efficiency, potential new sales verticals using that data, and also rates are going to come down, I do think that this is going to be the year for PayPal to finally start putting in a bit of recovery. So that's pretty much everything I had for you guys in terms of the technicals. Let's take a look into my portfolio. So guys, taking a look at my portfolio. So as you can see, as we've recovered ever so slightly over the past couple of days, we are still underperforming the indexes here, down almost 10% to start the year, even though the indexes are green. So heavy underperformance in relation to our benchmark NASDAQ and to our benchmark S&P 500. That is obviously because, as I've explained a few times in the portfolio, the stocks that we have been assigned, guys, they have been at very low levels. However, they are just stocks that are currently out of favor right now, right? We have a solar play in there. We have a few plays that are exposed to interest rates as well. And then we also have a few plays that are exposed to China. So all in all, guys, we have been playing the beaten down stocks because I do believe they represent the greatest potential to the upside, but have just been out of favor for your early month of January here. So let's take a little bit of insight here into the positions. You can see that as of today, we just wrote a lot of covered calls. So PayPal, we're going to start off with Palantir as a whole. So Palantir, we got assigned here down here at about $18, average cost of about $17.56 after your put premium. And we just wrote some $18 calls for this Friday. So you can see we got over 1%. 1% would be 18 cents. We got literally 24 cents here for an average price. So that's going to be very good. If ever Palantir closes above 18, we will be called away or potentially be looking to roll those. But looking very good on Palantir in terms of the recovery. I like our average cost on that. So we'll see what happens with this position. It's just looking to farm premium. PayPal as well. We wrote the 66 calls here, guys, right? So I was watching PayPal all day pretty much, was hesitating whether or not I was going to write some calls on the position or not. But then I was watching it intraday, and after the sell-off just continued, when we fell below my 66 assigned price earlier, right? You can see, guys, that my average cost on PayPal is roughly about $64.60 now with your premium. So I was watching it on the day, was hesitating to write here because I did believe that we could just continue this rally. But as soon as I saw this massive sell-off here of about pretty much, 6.5%, I was like, well, the bears have taken back a lot of this move at this point. So will the bulls be able to really recapture 66? 66 is still a decent amount away here from the moment that I wrote it. They're about, still about 2-3% away from that. So we'll see what happens, but I wanted to at least take advantage of the volatility happening on PayPal right now, reduce my average cost after being in the stock for so long at this point, not being able to write covered calls. Chose to write 266 covered calls, which reduced my average cost here by about $1.21. So very happy that we got all that premium here on the covered calls. That's almost 2% for the week, so I'll take that pretty much. And now we also wrote some more BABA puts. So we wrote the BABA 66s. So BABA just continuously looking to reduce my average cost after being assigned at 72 here. You can see our average cost with all this premium is now down to about 79.42. So I did put in an average down position. 66 is the potential assignment price for this week. Why? Because that respects my rule here, guys. I'm looking to only average down if we're about 20% lower than where I got assigned, and that would roughly be 66. So that's why I took a position on BABA, also representing some good premium, got over 0.5% on this one, right? So BABA plays on this one more specifically, we got, roughly 0.43 divided by 66. We got roughly 0.6% for the week. So it was very juicy play. Decided to throw in a little average down there on BABA. We wrote the Oxy, which was featured in my yesterday's video. So I was talking to you guys about the 56 puts. 56 puts obviously representing your massive area of support right here. That was featured on yesterday's video, but you can see it best on this weekly chart right here, starting at 56 all the way down to about $54. So that's how I wrote OXY, one contract only here for about 27 cents, which is roughly 0.5%. That's going to be another put play for this week. And now lastly, Trade Desk. Trade Desk coming up here. Trade Desk, we got assigned earlier at 72 a couple weeks back. And now the stock was trading back up into the $69, $70 range. So while it was there, I decided to write some covered calls against it here. So we got these 72 covered calls on Trade Desk here for about 42 cents, which is just over 0.5%. Trade Desk, I'll remind you, our average cost at this point is about, well, now I need to add this right now, but it's about in your lower $70 range here. So we're going to be looking to potentially write some more covered calls as the stock is closer to 72. That is what the strategy entails here after being assigned on December 29th. Just looking to write some covered calls as close as possible to our assigned strike price. Just going to reduce our average cost even more. But I really love Trade Desk, guys. 70 all the way down to $60 range. I do believe it represents some very good upside potential, right? Just looking for the monthly higher low for trend continuation, pure advertising play. They should have a decent year. And now CP obviously got called away last week. So CP, after being in that trade for a while, we finally got called away after farming a bunch of premium, collecting some dividends. We are now out of the stock, got called away at 77.50. So it was a very juicy trade. Very happy with the way that trade played out. As you can see, we reduced our average cost all the way to the lower end of the range right here. And then we took profit really virtually towards the higher end of the range. So really just looking to play that. If ever we do come down, I'll be playing CP again. And now, obviously, we also have one thing that I wanted to show you guys here. We did do a leap call on BABA. So this leap call on BABA right here is an 85 delta play, meaning that, grand scheme of things here, guys, when it's talking about the deltas here, 85 just means that I have 85% probability of this being pretty much in profit by the end of the contract date. So I chose a leap contract here going for January 17th, 2025, $50 call for about $23.40. The reason I chose the 50s at $23.40 is very simply here, guys. If you see, my break even on this is going to be $50 plus your premium here, so $73.40. And $73.40 really isn't too far away from the current share price on BABA right now. You can see, guys, that it represents a premium of only about, let's say roughly about 7% for a year. So I'm only paying 7% in total premium for the option for a year of time. I like it, guys. I like BABA at these low levels. The volatility was relatively low as well. So just looking to try and pick these low levels. I know they have earnings here coming up pretty much next Wednesday, but next Wednesday, if they dip for some reason into like the $50 range, I will throw another one. Just looking to play a mean reversion play on BABA. I do believe BABA has a good chance of recovering here to $80, $90 range. So just looking to play that mean reversion on BABA and using the leap calls to do that. And now the rest is pretty much the same here, guys. Adobe, still having that, might cut it short soon, but doing fairly decent here on Adobe. Really should have taken profit early in the morning when it hit 620. But I like the formation of this chart here, guys. They have recaptured the weekly uptrend cycle right here again. So we were just looking weekly, downtrend was set. engulfing move by the bulls, looking to reset into a new weekly uptrend. The daily is looking very healthy. Daily uptrend is set as well. So going to be looking for them to potentially recapture for high 420s all the way to 430. That's my target on Adobe for this swing trade. Amazon still holding these slight shares. TMF 20-year bonds. Oracle now finally back into profit in that position. Oracle looking very good as well for some continuation here, all the way to the gap fill, potentially 111, 112. If we do hit that area, I may think of taking a slight little bit of profits here out of this position on Oracle. Just want to take my profits, guys, and potentially roll them into other plays which have been kept low, especially after earnings season. Want to have a lot of buying power in case big tech has some drops here. Ethereum and Bitcoin still holding those tiny positions. Nike not close enough for covered calls. Starbucks recovering slightly, but not close enough for covered calls. Trade Desk went over that. Baba went over that as well. Palantir, PayPal went over that. And now lastly, guys, CSIQ still stuck in CSIQ. Solar play now down significantly from the start of the year. That's been the one that's plaguing the account mostly in relation to everything else. And now my Canadian banking shares recovering ever so slightly, still up roughly about 50 cents per share here on about 1,000 shares. So looking fairly decent here as a whole. Really just the solar play has been really kicking our butts at the early end of this year. So that's everything I had for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, consider dropping a like. Would really appreciate it for the algorithm. And also consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. We would love to have you here. Over 600 subscribers now, guys. I thank each and every one of you for that. And as usual, if you have any questions, guys, don't hesitate. Leave them down below in the comments and I'll answer you as soon as possible. So take care. See you tomorrow after the close. Huge day. Netflix earnings. Peace.